When somebody's the president of the United States, the authority is total, and that's the way it's got to be.
There you are.
Oh, the shit's real now, son.
It
Shit
is.
got real. You're
Classic,
my first.
classic Zoom right there. Classic first 30 seconds of every Zoom meeting in history.
Is it working? How does this work? Hello?
Yeah.
Is this working? Hello?
Every corporate every sales team, ever has experienced like those first 30 seconds of the dude that's just like, talking for 15 seconds and he's muted and like all that cliche shit.
I kind of wanted to just pretend like I was talking, but not really. Just be like,
Yeah.
that would have been
Dude,
funny.
other than the clap, I totally would have bought it.
Yeah, I
100%.
realized I did the clap. I probably could have hit mute, but it probably says it on your end.
Yeah, it would let me know. And then I would just be like, dude, I know it's muted.
Oh, fair enough. What's
um
up, bro? Nice to
dude,
meet you.
you too, man. It's nice to meet you formally and thanks so much for doing this, man. I love your shit, dude. It's great. You do a lot of cool stuff. Um if you haven't
Thanks.
figured it out by now, like the only people that I'm like really like eager to talk to are either photographers that I really like, or just other I don't know creative people. Music. There's a couple musicians that I'm going to be talking to, and just people that I think are interesting right now. Nurses um, that are kind of working through all the pandemic stuff. So
Cool.
so yeah, man. I invited you because I really like the stuff that you do. You do a lot of like you do a lot of like weird shit, like weird time lapses and stuff, and you incorporate a lot of EDM and um, yeah, man, I'm a fan.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. I've been doing it for a while now. I got a lot of inspirato, a lot of inspiring people that I followed, and it was a long journey, but I'm finally at a point where I like what I do. And I mean the algorithm's all fucked up, and it's hard to like base the reception on how many likes or views you get. But I'm finally at a place where I post what I want to post when I want to post it, and it's not my bread and butter. I don't get paid for it per se. I mean, it leads to other gigs, but I do it because I enjoy it.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, man. I was talking to Emmerich the other day. I think you guys know each other, right? In some
We
capacity.
never met IRL, but yeah, we were both LA time lapse photographers, and our little squad is relatively small, so we all know who is who, and we've been following each other forever. And
Right.
I respect his work, and I think he respects mine. I mean,
Oh, he does. In fact, the reason that I mentioned him is because the other day when we were talking, I brought you up, and actually we can get to that. You know the reason that I brought you up.
A little bit. Okay. It's it's fucking magical. It's really impressive. Let's see what the software feels like. Oh, it's a lighter. It's a lighter stream.
yeah.
But um, I mentioned I was like, oh yeah, man, like he does really cool stuff with like syncing audio with like time lapses and stuff like that, and and I mentioned something about like, yeah, I'd really like to try out some of the stuff that he does, and I think Emmerich like gave me this massive disappointment where he's like, oh yeah, like I'm not even sure that he does it like for a living, like I think it's just like a thing that he just does for fun, and I was just like, just like, oh jeez, like what hope is it for the rest of us when like the dude who's like probably one of the like better ones or best ones is just like, oh, it's just a dumb thing that I do sometimes.
I wouldn't say it's a dumb thing, but No, I mean, I am not a professional per se. Like I've sold clips, like I've definitely licensed some of the stuff I've done.
Yeah.
I've done, commissioned work. I've worked on projects, but I have a 9 to 5, dude. Like
Yeah.
I'm not struggling. Like I am in some sense, I guess, just but I have a regular 9 to 5 job, so there's not as much pressure.
Right.
But I'd be down, dude. Like, fuck, if I could just quit my gig and just flex the TL game, like if I could just make time lapses for a living, it'd be dope. But the problem is if you're working on your own, you gotta work like you're never on your own. Like you gotta work for clients. And I'm
Right.
okay with it, but that's compromise. That's not taking your vision per se. That's taking someone else's vision and slanging some detox tea or fucking vapes or something. And I don't really want to slang detox tea or vapes right now.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm down. If there's any detox tea or vape sponsors, I'll fucking do it. I don't give a fuck. I'm
Yeah.
here.
Always be closing for those sponsorships.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
down, dude.
well, I mean, I think that there are probably some people that maybe don't have to go all that way, but it's pretty. I mean, it's not. I don't think time lapse is like a business that's it's definitely a feast or famine. Like there's a lot of like middle class like time lapse squad. Like you either have to, like Matt Vandeput or whatever. Like he's
Hmm.
just like he made his whole thing from time lapse. Like Emmerich as well. Like that's
Yeah.
like what he does. But yeah, there's not like it's like I can maybe name like four people that are just like I all I do is make time lapses.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But even that, it's like time lapse is usually just for B-roll. Like there very rarely is there a feature film or something where that's the real essence of whatever the film or project is. I mean, the only exception really is Tom Lowe. I don't know if you've heard of Tom Lowe. He's like the OG in the time lapse game, and he made a film. It's got to be 10 years ago already on the Canon 5D Mark II that inspired me and a bunch of other photographers to realize that you could do like cinematic shit off of a DSLR.
Hmm.
And I mean, his Milky Way game was crazy, and he came up with all sorts of techniques. And I actually became friends with one of his main shooters, this dude Dustin, Dr. Kanab. That dude worked with Tom Lowe on that original project and other projects since. And so he's like one of the OG gangsters in the game, and he's still doing it. But also my other friend, Crispy Zero, Chris Pritchard, that dude is one of my favorites in the world. And like, that's his bread and butter. Like
Yeah.
he's a professional, and he's done big projects for Disney and a bunch of other stuff. So, I mean, there are some projects where you could just lapse that shit. But for the most part, the market is just B-roll.
Right.
Like one of my favorite photographers of all time who passed away in July, Brian Bloss. I mean, he was a time lapse god. Like that dude would get down, but he also would have to bring in his drone and get that fucking buttery drone lapse or that drone shot, and then he'd get the other B-roll. And it's like you got to have that whole arsenal. Like there's a
Right.
mix. You got to have the mix to really flex on fools. And I'm down. I'm fucking
Yeah.
down to flex on fools, but I don't know, dude. It's a fucked up market right now, dude. That's for damn
Well,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if it was tough to make ends meet as a time lapse or even a B roll in general photographer, 6 months ago, you know, what are you doing right now?
Drinking.
Yeah,
That's about it.
yeah.
Drinking and
Wearing
you know,
sweatpants.
crocheting. Yeah, sweatpants. That's it. The new the new uniform for this new world.
That's right.
I mean,
Dude,
why even wear jeans? I don't get it.
I've even been seeing like a lot of like the Amazon delivery drivers or just even like postal workers just straight up just like yeah I'm dressing just as lethargic as everybody else like I don't and it's like who's gonna say anything who are you gonna call the post office and let them know that one of their workers wasn't wearing his blue onesie or whatever the hell that is.
Nah, you can't. I mean, maybe Jeff Bezos might hate on some fools, but I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad because I'm sure he's watching this right now. What's up, Mr. Bezos?
Yeah,
Give
you
me
don't work for
some
Amazon, do you?
pesos. No, no. I work for a toy company. I don't really have anything to show, but I'm an artist for a toy company. That's my 9 to 5.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm one of the lucky ones in our group, like at our company. I mean, basically the whole company was let off or furloughed, but the art department, we were able to organize a remote, accessibility. And so I've been putting in work, since this all started, but it's half days and it's from the crib. And it's such a
Right.
weird experience. Like, I love it. I mean, I enjoy working from home, but there's something about having a routine where you at least leave the apartment. I mean, that the routine is fucked, but I mean, I know we're getting it to it at some point, but the bidet, like that shit keeps me super comfy here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like I have to dress up anyway when I go to work, but it's like I got my food here, my drinks here, my bidet here. It's like I don't need to deal with traffic, and I don't need to go into an office for what I do, but it's
Right.
weird. It's weird just not seeing humans. Like I'm
Yeah.
not seeing people.
It's totally weird, man. I mean, it's like I feel like at this point everyone said this, but every couple of days it's that it's that reminder of that, like, thriller drama, dystopian movie that we've all seen 1,000 times. And like, you just every once in a while you kind of get on autopilot because at this late stage of the game it's really is starting to feel normal, but
Mm.
you'll still be reminded every couple of days. You'll have that one thing that'll happen where you're all of a sudden you're the protagonist, and you know what I mean, and you're like,
Yeah.
what did he do in this moment, or whatever.
Ugh. Yeah, no, it's almost like a Truman Show sort of vibe. Like there have been moments where I'll close the medicine cabinet and I'll be like, did I catch a camera? Like, did I feel like someone, like I'll say something to myself and I'll make myself laugh, and then I think I hear a laugh from somewhere else, and I'll be like, that's funny, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's fun. I don't mind it too much, but I could see how it's gonna get real shitty in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I I've been I've been seeing, like, that there was kind of that initial wave of people that were like, all right, I'm not going to be able to work. Obviously, like
Hmm.
photographers. I mean, I would imagine a ton of people in LA because the
Oh
whole
yeah.
economy is based around like freelancing, right? So,
Oh yeah. The gig economy is taking the shit. Like all of the productions have stopped. I mean, all the real productions and then the B rolls, for that. So many projects, all the concerts, all the concert photographers I know. I mean, even comedy clubs. I know a lot of people in the service industry, the bars and
yep.
restaurants. Fuck, dude. Like, I can't imagine how much of an impact this is going to have um, forever. Like, this is a world changing event. And I'm just fucking in my pajamas making packaging for toys. Like I'm okay, but
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that are not okay right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like that was kind of that was like the initial, first week or something, was like, oh my God, you had all those kinds of people that were like, what am I going to do?
Hmm.
And then it seems like more recently now you're starting to hear from the people that kind of like, maybe they weren't as concerned about it initially because they're salaried, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like, now there's this reality setting in for, like, most people, um, where it's kind of like they or somebody they know, or like some percentage of their company is now getting laid off, and like all of a sudden it's just like, right, I mean, it's nice to be salaried, but at the same time, like, if your company's just like, yeah, we're at like 8% of our revenue or something, like, it's just
Oh yeah.
obviously they're not going to keep everybody.
Oh yeah. No, that actually was a discussion today in my morning meeting. It's we're in toys, and I mean, as much as I love toys and the world loves toys, we're not necessarily an essential. And there's so many people that are not going to have the cheddar to just buy some shit. the whole economy is going to change. The whole culture is going to change. And
Mm,
there is talk that we might have to restructure. I mean, there is talk that I'm not going to be, you know, I mean, it's possible. Like, I don't want to put it out there necessarily, but maybe I do in case that vape company or that, detox tea company is listening. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's the most uncertain times ever,
right.
dude. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
use the F word? I forgot.
Oh,
How are you? Okay.
please, please do. I was debating before every one of these. I'm like, I try to just have that a guess of like, all right, what kind of person is this, gonna be, and
Yeah.
uh, and based on the bidet video, I was like pretty laxed about this one. I was like, all right, this is gonna be fine. But yeah, usually I have that like, do I do the first curse word and they're like feel it out because the better
Drop the first F
conversation.
bomb.
Right. The best conversations always seem to have at least like it's almost like that, when you curse, you're waving that flag that says, "Hey man, like we can just be honest with each other. Like we don't have to, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?" And then the second question is always like, do I grab a couple of beers and put them on the table next to me you know, and then how drunk do I get? That's
Yeah, it's fair. I'm down to grab a beer. What time is it? It's 6:38. I could drink a beer now.
all right, I'll meet you back here in like a minute.
Okay, I'll grab it. So I'll flex it real quick. So my favorite beer in the world is the New England IPA. It's that
Okay.
hazy IPA. And there's a brewery in LA called Highland Park Brewery, and they just re-released their Super Cloud. So
Nice.
there's a free plug for them. And
Hazy
this
IPA
is
as well, I'm
oh
assuming.
I love yeah, it's one of their hazies. They're one of my favorites. And then there's another brewery called Mumford, who is also in downtown LA that makes incredible hazy IPAs. But it's all from this brewery. This is the brewery that started it. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, there you go. It's the
Yep.
Alchemist. You can kind of see the logo
Okay.
right there.
Yeah.
But the Alchemist in Vermont, they're the ones who really popularized this style of IPA where it's that creamy,
Right.
hazy color. It's not ultra bitter. There's a little bit of sweetness to it, but they made a beer called Heady Topper. They
Yep.
still make it.
Well, that's
You've
like
heard
the
you,
that's like everyone's favorite. Yeah.
you've heard of Heady? Where are you
Oh,
at?
I'm in Philly.
Oh, dude, you know it.
Yeah.
You know it. It's big at well,
Yeah.
it's bigger because it's actually somewhat accessible
Truth be
in
told, man,
Pennsylvania.
truth be told, I'm not like a super hoppy guy. I had like a period, I think, but eventually I was like, I just need to drink something like simple. I can't like so it was like I can't have like a steak right now. Like you know what I mean?
Mm.
I just want to drink something.
What do
And
you got?
so this is a little local John right here. You may have heard of them. It's the White Claw.
Well, cheers, bro.
Cheers. Cheers, dude.
Mm.
Yeah, man, you were going into the intro about that um about the beer, and I was just sitting here with my fucking White Claw, and I was like, oh, he's gonna hate so hard on this White
I
Claw that
like
I
White
got.
Claw. I'm not a purist, or I'm a little bit snobby sometimes, but not too much. Like
Yeah,
I'm a little bit hipster, but not like super hipster. I
right,
mean, I'm a open-minded hipster, I guess.
right, right.
And I homebrew,
Oh, that's cool.
so I've made beer, and I'll also pickle and do other like hipster shit in the flannel. But I mean, I'll still drink a Bud Light or Coors Light if that's what's available. But exactly.
Right.
But I like the finer things in life sometimes.
Yeah, I used to hate on the White Claws, not because I didn't like them. I hadn't even had them before, I don't think, but
Hmm.
it was like it was so trendy that I was just like, I have to hate this thing. I just have to. And but then like it was like during the summer and somebody gave me one. I was like, really? That's 5% alcohol and it just tastes. I mean, it's like nothing, and I was amazed. Um, And then also I have diabetes. So for me, it's just like there's like no
Oh
sugar
shit.
in it at all. It's just
Yeah.
low maintenance. Um, so ever since that kind of came together, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna start drinking these damn things now.
I can't hate on that, dude. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with the claw.
yeah.
The
Uh,
claw. What was that from? Was that
that
Big
was
Daddy?
from Liar Liar.
Oh, liar, liar! When he does it to his kid,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
should use that in their ads. I don't know.
Dude, my wife always quotes the like new guy that comes into her relationship. I can't
Mhm.
remember the actor's name, but he's the same guy that plays Robin Hood Men in Tights. Remember, he's the guy who's like her new boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. He was also in Princess Bride.
Correct.
Fuck. Someone's watching this and they're yelling it at
Yeah,
us, but I don't.
yeah.
What's his name? I love that guy though. Yeah, no, that's anyway. Yeah, I
In
hear you.
any case, yeah, she always quotes that guy because like he comes in and he tries to kind of like be the cool new dad or whatever. So he like tries to do
Mhm.
the claw, and he's always like, "You're scared of the claw." Remember that?
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Yeah, she always quotes that dude. My stupid
that.
light. I just bought this my little Loom Cube, like corporation version that sticks on the back of your
Nice.
laptop. And you
Mhm.
know what, Loom Cube, I like you, but your damn suction cup doesn't stick.
It
What's up with
doesn't.
that?
That's sucks, but it doesn't suck at the same time.
Hmm.
I have
I
a
feel like
loom
this
cube.
entire episode is just going to be product placement for like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, I could do it. I got a lot of product around me too.
Dude, what kind of toys, like what kind of artist are you for the toy company? Like what do you do exactly?
Um, so I'm mostly production art. So that's like packaging design, like mostly laying out packaging. I write instruction manuals. I do our website. I do some product design. The company is mostly remote control.
Uh-huh.
So RC cars, RC, drones. We have some licenses. We have SpongeBob and Sonic, and so a lot of my work is just laying out packaging, creating instruction manuals, and photography. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I'm obviously the go-to guy at the company for photography. So I'll do our photo shoots. I'll hire the models or the kids, and I'll do that. I don't really have anything from that company. I used to do stuffed animals though. I could show you some plush I designed.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I used to work for a plush company, and so I used to do stuffed animals for them. So here's some stuffed animals that I made.
So you
Some like
designed all
vent.
them?
Yeah, I went to China, dude. I got to go to China and work with our factories. And so yeah, I designed plush. Made a little beanie baby with the sock monkey. We did a lot
Dude,
of
that's
sock
awesome.
monkey stuff. A little frog. I got a lot of it scattered all over the place, but yeah, I do product design. But this company, it's mostly just production stuff.
Right.
It's more of the boring stuff. Every once in a while, they'll slip me a little fun project. I get to test shit. Like I get paid to play with toys a lot of the time,
No shit.
which is yeah, which is kind of cool. And I get to rock headphones and go into whatever world I want. Listen to podcasts.
Right.
And so yeah, while I am in this world, I'm in this world, and I'll just be laughing to myself while everyone else is doing whatever they're doing. I'm on my own planet, you know, just getting through it, having fun. I enjoy it. It's not a terrible gig. I'm okay with it.
That's pretty cool, man. I like
Yeah.
I like that you get to do something that's not like directly related to revenue as well, because it means I would assume I've never really had a job like that where it like wasn't correlated with revenue, which I probably gave me a much worse feeling about like working for the man maybe than you did, because I would assume that when you kind of get to be creative and that's it doesn't sound like you dislike your job, put it that way.
In case they're watching this, I love my job. In case they're not watching this, I could do something better. I'm okay
Yeah.
with leveling up. I think this is one of the big things that's happened during this whole pandemic is, I've now reassessed my priorities and what I enjoy, and the work itself, it's okay, but I would much rather, render some lapses. I'd rather harvest. Much rather go out there and find sexy angles and get paid to create something that's from me, like that
Mhm.
really is more personal.
Yeah.
So I'm in a weird place. Like, it's comfortable. I'm in cruise control. It's like I've been chilling in this fucking hot tub with my sweatpants on forever, and it's like I have to piss in it a little bit to warm it up, but it's like it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
That's a gnarly analogy, but
I was gonna say that's a pretty that's a pretty good metaphor. It's a stretch, but I hear you 100%.
yeah, I'm okay with it. What do you do? What's your gig? Are we allowed to
Well,
ask you questions?
yeah, ask away. I used to work in software sales for like
Mhm.
I did it for like 8 years or something like that,
Uh-huh.
and I really just couldn't do it. I probably like what you're talking about, but like maybe in a few years, like I was dealing with that fact of like whatever, struggling with purpose or whatever you want to call it for like a long
Yeah.
time, and eventually I quit. Um, and so now like I'm a photographer. I still need to hustle a lot more. I'm not at the point yet where I'm making like serious money. Um, but every day is a little bit better. You know what I
Good.
mean? And I get a few more gigs, and I learn something a little bit more applicable that I can get paid for, or whatever. So
Nice, dude.
it's uh it's a totally different thing, that's for sure, and it's a lot more. It's just harder. It's a lot harder to make money. But I will say that every dollar that I make in photography, it feels like the equivalent of like 1,000 that I might have made, you know, as a salary.
Slanging software.
Yeah, it feels so much more like victorious when like do the job from start to finish and someone pays you and they only deal with you, and I
Yeah.
don't know, it just feels so like worthwhile.
Yeah. It's much more rewarding. I hear you, man. I'm psyched for you. That's a cool transition, and yeah, I mean, good for you, dude. It's
Thanks,
a
man.
good
Um,
transition.
I mean, like I said before, right now I'm just kind of a professional sweatpants where I mean that's
Hmm.
there's really there's no shoots going on
Me
at the
too,
moment.
homie.
Nice. Nice, bro. Now the real question is, how many days have you had those on for? Is this just day one or is this
I got,
multiple
I
day?
got, I got rotation. I
Okay.
mean, in all honesty, this is what I wear to work anyway.
Right.
I mean, it has not affected. There are maybe two pairs of pants that I don't wear to work. Um, like extra PJ ish.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been a couple morning meetings, like FaceTime meetings, where I'm just Donald ducking that shit, just to Donald duck it.
Yeah.
I mean, you
No
can't
one,
see it.
no one
Like,
says
if we got
anything.
the right angle, they can't see it. It's all about lighting and angles, homie. You know this.
That's right. I'm naked from the waist down right now, so yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah, dude. It's the only way to interview someone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, plus I would imagine for a toy company, like I would assume that they're probably not going to take that stuff as seriously, maybe, or am I wrong about that?
I don't think I've ever been banged on for my attire. Like, I think maybe twice they told me that I should dress up because they're gonna have like some buyers come in, where they're just like, hey,
Oh, I
they
see.
don't say, hey, wear your professional pants. They'll just say, we have someone visiting tomorrow, and I know they mean no PJs on that
Right.
Thursday or whatever. So yeah, I'm okay with it. It's funny, like that was me dressing up. Me dressing up is just wearing anything other than sweatpants,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I'll get compliments like, wow, you look so good today. I
Right.
mean, a chick will have to do her makeup and hair and nails, and I just wear some denim and fuck,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like,
Your
bellow
your
the ball.
your mascara and lip gloss and all that is just
Mhm.
not having sweatpants.
Just denim, baby. That's my makeup. That's all I need. So yeah, I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I'm not worried about clothing. I haven't really had many jobs where I worked at Best Buy back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And so that was, rocking khakis and a polo. That was kind of, I mean, that was the only time I was really forced to wear. No, I did have an internship at Warner Brothers and also another one at NBC Universal. And they made me wear, adult clothing.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of annoying, but yeah, that's why I left. Well, fuck you.
Right.
Fuck
And that
that.
was all artist related gigs as well.
No, I went to school for marketing. I graduated Cal State Northridge in the Valley, with a degree in marketing, and that was in marketing. Like I worked in national promotions at Warner Brothers, and then it was ad sales for USA network. It was USA and a couple other of their networks, but yeah, it's so dry, dude. Like I like the idea of marketing, but it's so much more math than you think. And I'm okay with math, but I'd much rather be on that creative side and come up with a campaign. And so eventually I started going, drift into that creative side because I've always had that background. Like I've always gotten down, like I could always draw, and I've always been somewhat creative.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually I shifted. I sidestepped into that side of it, but it took a while.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a realization that a lot of people have about like the concept of marketing is that it's not like an episode of Mad Men where we all just like, do mushrooms and sit on the beach until we come up with a cool
Oh,
idea, you know?
dude, I wish I did that. Well, with some of the people I worked with, most of them, I don't think I would have had a great trip.
Yeah.
But if we came up with campaigns and shroomed a little,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know, dude. Like I feel like I missed that moment. Like maybe in the '80s, that same office would have been doing coke and like hiring midgets to
Right.
dance or whatever, or little people, whatever, and then they'd come up with some brilliant shit. But I'm just like doing ad swaps with other offices around the country. Like, yo, this company doesn't want to play ads at this time. Let me swap with you. Like that was most of my job there. God, that sucked. But it looked good on the resume. It was cool on the resume, and I got swag out of it.
Hmm.
That was about it, though. I got nothing else from that job. But it's okay. Good story. Cool story, bro.
Well, dude, I think like back to the kind of the other thing about, you'd love to just hang out and make time lapses all day. Like, I mean, you probably could get to a point where maybe you wouldn't be able to replace like all of your income, but I would bet if you just like if you like made a decision like I'm gonna legit just do this like as much as whatever free time I have I'm going to spend like 75% of non-working time just on this thing. I mean, you've
Yep.
got like a decent amount of like following on social
Hmm.
media. Like you could definitely parlay that if I have no doubt, dude, because I can tell like the people that have genuine ability and like to your point where you're like I just kind of screwing around and like trying to impress a particular demographic or whatever. I feel like that's when you can really start to grow because now
Hmm.
it's like you're just doing you. You're not like I saw a guy do this shot, I'm going to try to get that shot. Like
Hmm.
you're good and you know that you're good and now you're just kind of screwing around and like enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love that transition. And I've tried. It's tough though. I need to. It's like working the 8 hours a day. I come home and a lot of times I don't want to do anything. Like 8 hours in front of the computer, sitting at my computer.
Yeah.
I mean, I just need that inspirato, bro. Like I just need a little bit of a push sometimes. And this has actually been a good experience. Like I've been dipping into some archives during this pandemic, and I mean, yeah, about 7 years ago this month, I quit the plush company, that stuffed animal company.
Yeah.
I quit that gig, broke up with my girlfriend of 8 years, and backpacked Europe for 3 months. And it was just me and my two cameras, and I shot time lapses in every country, every state. Like I really did it right. And I'm thinking I'm coming back from this shit. I'm gonna render this monster lapse, like this giant project, and that'll be my life. I'm just gonna get paid to travel the world and shoot time lapse. And not long after I got home, someone that I worked with at the plush company, he leveled up to a different company, and he's like, yo, we need somebody. And I was ready to fucking coast along and render my shit and, plan out some new shit. And then he's like, we got a gig. It pays twice what you're getting. And like, it's super easy. And sure enough, I mean, it paid twice what I was getting. And it was like an eighth of the work, eighth of the responsibility. And it was supposed to be for like a couple weeks, but that was fucking 6.5 years ago now.
Yeah. So it's hard
But
to
yeah.
hard not to do that.
Yeah, but while I was, first soaking in that hot tub, if you will, I started leveling up. I mean, when I did my Euro adventure, I was nowhere near, like, I didn't know nothing. Like, I barely knew how to do a Holy Grail, day to night or night to day. I never played with effects. I met a lot of photographers from when I got back to now, especially within those first like 2 or 3 years. I mean, I was coasting around 800, 900 followers forever. And then, I met like some legitimate photographers, people that I was inspired by. And, I was able to level up. I mean, Crispy Zero, again, that dude, I mean, I was wigging out. Like the first time I met him, I mean, it was like I met, fucking Brad Pitt or something.
Right. Right.
I was so hyped to meet him up on the hill, shooting a moonrise. Like I was fanboying out, bro,
Yeah.
like ready to get his graph. And we became friends, and he's been super good about teaching me some of the techniques. And I mean, I still think he's way better than anybody, but super modest guy. If anyone, for everyone that's watching this, fucking follow Crispy Zero. That dude's a gangster.
I'm gonna
And
reach. I'm gonna reach out to him. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think that I follow him, so I'm gonna check him out for sure.
Yeah, dude. So he was like the OG that like really helped me, to coast into the game and learn some shit. The other one is Dan Orst. Have you seen that name?
I think so. It sounds familiar.
So Dan Orst, he's the legit OG moon master of LA. Like he's the one who did that multiple moon stacks. And
Like before anybody else was doing it.
like he was front page Reddit 8 years ago maybe with that shit. And I think that was first time I saw that, and I figured it out. But we have since become friends, and that dude's consistently leveling up. And so, I mean, there's still a nice pool of gangsters out there that are fucking leveling up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not as inspired as I used to be, but I have a couple other photographers that I've been shooting with, and this is not like, I'm not trying to make this like a shout out episode, like
No,
shout
no.
out to my boy. But there are two other photographers in LA that are like constantly pushing it. One is Ryan P. Ramos.
Okay.
That dude is fucking thirsty for that angle. Like that dude's always chasing that shit. And also LA Reflections, my boy Bam. I don't know if you've seen that. Like he is the best in the LA squad right now. Just every day doing sets, like like I'll work out like once a week or once every other week. That dude's just putting in work, just sets every day, son. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of respect for people that are just like that put in the effort.
Hmm.
This dude, this Philly photographer, JJ Bowen, is what he is on Instagram. He's like one of my favorite photographers in this area. And I was talking to him the other day, and one of the reasons that I wanted to have him on was like exactly what you're talking about, where he like over like a summer, it's like his Instagram story, it's like every sunrise, every sunset, then Milky
Mm.
Way, and then work 9 to 5 after that, and it's just bananas. And it was like he would do it for like it was like, I mean, if Milky Way was applicable, you only have probably whatever 9 days or something per month, but like during that 9 day spread, it was like every single night, and then every other night or every other day was like at least sunrise and sunset on top of it. And man, like in the summer, sunrise is no joke, dude. It's like you're up at like 3.
Yeah, no, I know those. We used to go on those adventures every summer. We we would do like early Milky Way season where you'd have to, it wouldn't even rise until 3 or 4 in the morning.
Right.
I mean, dude, and then we drive back after the sun came up. Dude, we did we did work. I mean, we put in work. And it's funny, a lot of people that follow us don't realize how much goes into some of those sessions. They just see the pretty video, and I make it, synchronized with music. And they're like, oh, you just showed up, shot some shit, came home. And people are like, what app did you use? Like,
Right.
I could just fucking throw it into an app, and they don't realize how many layers and how, either I'll have the song first, or like usually I'll have something kind of rendered, and then I'll find a song. I'll find a
Mhm.
song that inspires me. I'll find a song that has some beats to it that I go with. Real quick, if you want to know that inspiration, it's from Michel Gondry. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's a director, most famous for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
But he is the best music video director of all time. I mean, he doesn't get nearly enough credit for all of his Daft Punk, his Chemical Brothers, his Bjork. I mean, he did so many epic music videos that would synchronize with the video and the audio, and
Right.
that hit me. It hit me fucking like it hit me real good, man.
Like what Daft Punk did he do? Which
Around the World,
okay.
the robots going
Yep.
around that little set, and then they kind of pan out, and every piece of the song has character or something synchronized with it.
Yep.
But the one music video that really inspired me is Chemical Brothers' Star Guitar. So there's this music video that Michel Gondry did for Chemical Brothers, for the song Star Guitar, where they're just looking outside of a train. And as they're looking outside of a train, like every beat, like every part of the song is visualized. And it looks like you're just looking outside the
Right.
window, but it's synchronized so perfectly. It always, like, that hit me like real deep in my soul, like in my heart. Like that shit, it fucked me up like in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And inspired me. And yeah, so yeah, Michel Gondry, dude, he's the best.
I'm definitely gonna check him out because yeah, you're definitely speaking my language. In fact, I'm sitting here and I'm super disappointed that I don't know the video that you're talking about because I wish
The Star Guitar.
because it sounds like it's something where I'm feeling you on this. I just haven't seen it.
You might have. I think it's one of those things where it just looks like you're looking outside of a train. And I think one of the reasons that hit me so well is because I took a couple cross country trips via train when I was growing up. So when I was 10 years old, we took a train to New York to visit where my mom was from. And I remember, looking out the train. A lot of Americans don't fuck with the train, really. Like,
Yeah, way more of a
I
European
mean,
thing for sure.
oh, it's so much more Euro. But I was able to connect
Asia
with
as
that.
well.
Oh, dude, most of the world is all
Yeah.
about that train game. We're not about that train game. We're like,
No.
especially in LA, we're all about that car
Right.
life. But yeah, dude, looking at the train when I was 10, and I remember like kind of feeling like some of the things that was happening was like in beaten. And I feel like life can synchronize to a beat if you're tuned into it. And so when I make my time lapses, I try to tune it, to a beat so you could feel the music. And the fucked up thing though is that most people that watch or use Instagram don't fuck with the audio. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, it's like it's just because of the fact that you have to click. It's like as soon as you have to click, and like Instagram, it just forces you to have to do everything in this particular way, which has always driven me crazy. I mean, like like you cut like you're scrolling, oh, audio is playing. Whether like if you haven't clicked it, it's playing. You know what I mean? So you've lost that first couple of seconds, even if they want to
Oh
see
yeah.
it.
Oh, I know. No, I put it out there. I've asked people, and most of them were honest. But I've seen people. That's the thing. Like if I'm ever in public, I'll peek over to see what people are doing on their gram, and never ever are they rocking audio. They're all silent, and it's like this too. They're just like,
Yep.
And it's like, here I'm throwing down fucking sometimes 8 hours of work
I
for
know, man.
15 seconds, and they can't even fucking, 15 seconds. The attention span's garbage.
I know.
So I'm thinking of
I know.
just twerking or something, just doing cosplay and just that quick grab, like, oh, it's it's some cakes, and then I was like, just kidding, it's a dude, like, I don't know, some bait
Dude,
and
that would
switch. Like,
actually be a really hilarious test to do, would be to just find a picture of an ass or something and then just have that be the first half a second of your video clip and then just go right into the and just see how it would measure up, because I'd be willing to bet you'd get like 4 times the eyes that you would have otherwise.
yeah, I'd be willing to even flex my own cakes. Like, I would, like, low key, well, my cakes are all right. So, like, I could do that, that little bait and switch, like, haha, it was me. Now watch this time lapse, bitch.
The thing is, I 100% believe that you would do that too.
I would. I've definitely hit this point now where I don't care nearly as much as I used to. And I think a lot of that came from that bidet video. So if you want to bring
Really?
it back, yeah, dude.
Well, like
So
that was the
that's
moment of like I no longer give a fuck. Was like, watch me do
yes,
this stupid thing.
exactly.
That's pretty funny, man. What? Why do you like? Maybe just the quarantine, I guess. Just like
Yes.
this is just so dumb. And what are we doing? And I bought this bidet, and this will be a funny video, and I'm done.
Well, I've had issues with our culture, like with the American culture for a while. Um, just, censorship, and people having to conform, and it's like there's this weird area of goofiness that kind of gets pushed aside, like, oh, they're just being stupid, they're being silly. And I feel like there's a way to elevate that and be like, well, there's a freedom to the silliness.
Hmm.
There's a freedom to the person that doesn't give a shit. And my brother, Jeremy, talks to strangers. Like, that's his whole mantra. He gives so few fucks, like the fewest fucks you could possibly give. Like, that dude will go out and talk to anybody, um, anytime, no restrictions, no reservations. And there's this weird glossy fucking facade that we all rock,
Oh yeah.
and it's hard to dip out of that. We all try to look cool or be cool or conform, and fuck that, man. Life's way too short to not share the bidet, bro.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of the culture that fucks me up, or that really bothered me, is I conformed to this TP life for way too long, and it
Yeah.
never made sense. I'm a very rational dude, and I was able to, see between those brown lines, bro. Like, I was able to fucking to see that it's not the most efficient way to do this shit.
No. Or,
And
or
it,
cost effective either. If you want to go more of the mainstream logic, it actually doesn't make sense to do it.
there's nothing that makes sense about paper to the butthole. Like, that combo doesn't make sense at all. Like, physiologically, physically, like, chemically, I mean, emotionally, it just does not make sense, bro. And so I, I know. I mean, I've traveled a good part of the world, not all of it, but so many cultures
Right.
have leveled up to that. And I've always wondered, why have we not? And that whole TP fucking shortage, it was just, it was I felt the presence, that bidet god. There's like, he's all around us, or she's all around us, and there is a better way. And I'm like, well, why suffer through the TP shortage
Right.
when I could level up to the rest of the world? And I stopped conforming to that American culture, dude. Now I got a heated seat, and I got that super toasty spray, son.
It has
Like,
a
that,
heated seat as well.
yo,
I thought it was just
yes.
like the pump that was on the side or whatever that like shot water. So it like is it like a whole new toilet, or is it like
Mm-mm. It's
explain?
the seat. It's the seat. So I actually did the install in my story, and I wasn't gonna do a test sesh. Like I wasn't gonna test the bidet to the world originally. I just wanted to show like it's not that hard to swap out your toilet seat
Right.
for that next level.
Right.
And so like the first half of my bidet story was just me taking off the old toilet seat, putting the new one on there, plugging up the water, plugging up the power, and it was ready to go. And so I had enough people DMing me like, "Yo, so are you gonna test it or what? Like, don't leave us hanging."
Yeah.
And full transparency, I got pretty drunk and stoned that night.
Okay.
And so I'm like, I'll fucking make this video for the homies. Like, this is just for the homies. I'll let them know what this experience is like. And so
Right.
that was legit the very first time I ever rocked the bidet. And so I'm just letting the homies know, like, all right, well, this is what this button does. This is what this button does. And there's, and then it hit me. Like, it legit hit me on that deep level, like on the inside. Like, it cleaned my soul, son. Like, that shit was a new
Through
era.
your butthole.
Through the butthole. That's
Yeah.
that's where our soul is. It's through the butthole.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah. So I sent it to a couple friends, and they're like, "You have to post this in
Yeah.
your stories." And I did, and I was reluctant, but I was drunk and stoned enough to be like, "I don't give a fuck. Like, this is what happened. This is what that life is about." And so I put it out there, and I legit got a solid 9 people to purchase bidets from those stories.
No shit.
Yes, shit.
Dude, all right.
9.
We need to figure this out. You need to be a bidet ambassador. This is the first step to just shooting fun shit all day.
Dude,
Like again, I'll reference Matt Vandeput. He's Mr. Passive Income, guy. Um,
nice.
this is like your first foray into that life is through, making at least like 50 grand a year just through like bidet um
I would
affiliate links.
test them all. I would love to swap them. Like, I'll do legit tests. I reached out to Toto. Like, this shit did level, like, it blew up a little
Oh, so
bit.
you actually did attempt to like
I reached
monetize this
out
whole thing.
I reached out to Toto, and I wanted to be a ambassador, ambassador, but like ass, like in caps, like ass. I don't know which way,
Pretty good.
Uh,
Pretty good.
but they're too fucking square, son. Like, they're too
Yeah.
conservative.
Did you tell him that you
And
went to school for marketing and just like trust me?
they never read any of, like, they never responded to any comments or DMs. And
Oh.
I mean, I could theoretically sidestep, but I don't know if Toto is the right fit for me. There is another one. There's another
Corporate
one called,
speaking.
yeah, they're way too corporate, and I don't want to say they're too Japanese, but they're too conservative. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But there's another one called Tushy. Have you heard of Tushy?
I believe I have seen and potentially even clicked on one of their social media ads out of curiosity. It sounds
Yeah.
very familiar.
So they've dipped into the podcast world, and they've actually sponsored some of my favorite podcasts. But when I pulled the trigger on mine, I knew the brand recognition. I obviously knew Toto. They've been
Uh-huh.
around forever. But I just swooped in at the best time, because the one that I got is like, I think the retail price is like $500.
Wow.
But it was on sale for like $250. And then Amazon had a busted box. They had a used model for like $200. So I got a heated version of it for $200,
Nice.
and it was the best thing that's ever happened to me, man.
Dude, what like the heated version is that like necessary? I mean, I guess maybe in like the wintertime, I guess is when it would be convenient.
So the heated seat has been amazing. Like, it feels like a hug from God. Like, God is getting you,
Right.
like, just hugging you from below. The seat is dope. Like, I'm sure that a heated seat's going to be good for forever. but it's the heated water. You know, the you like when
Okay.
you could turn the water, like you could turn the heat down on the water, and it has an electronic heating coil in there. I'm pretty sure
Uh-huh.
that's how it works. It's an electronic heating element, and so you only get maybe 40 seconds of like that toasty spray, and then it'll start cooling down a little bit.
And now it's just
I'm
the
not
same.
saying I've got, oh yeah, but
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. But
Right.
there's definitely a difference from that
Hmm.
toasty spray at the beginning to that cool spray at the end. Like they
40
both work.
seconds 40 seconds seems like a so I'm going to ask some complete novice, I'm at the beginning of this ad. I'm the guy black and white like wiping his ass with the toilet paper, but like does it really badly for whatever reason. Like how like everyone's always like, "Don't you hate brushing your teeth?" and the guy like can't even like get the toothbrush in his mouth or whatever. But like that's me. I'm like attempting to wipe my ass and I'm like falling over. Um so like 40 seconds, like right away, I'm going, oh, wow, that's more than I would have thought. Like, so, does this just depend on like the grossness of the bowel movement? It's like some just, you're going to have to be there for like a while, such as, I'm going to have to wipe like, just forever. Like,
Yep.
what do you do in those situations where just those ones where you're like, it's just in there?
Um, well, that's so they got different nozzles. Like on the one that I have, it has the wider spray, like the girthier spray, and then like a finer, like a more concentrated spray.
Okay.
And they
Right.
also oscillate. You know, like you could just have the straight spray, or you hit it a second time, and it'll like
Right.
fucking
Right.
sprinkler that shit,
Right.
literally. And so it depends. Like I've learned there's techniques to it.
I
I mean, you
bet.
could just sit there like a fucking novice, like a noob. You could, get that newbie deuce. But there are ways to kind of angle it, to kind of lean on the side and lift up a little bit. Like there's definitely a sweet spot to the stream, son.
Right.
Like,
So there's a
and
whole strategy for this.
oh, I'm pro. Like I went pro like last week.
How
I
long
think
did it take?
it took about five 5 days. I don't know. Like it was like a good week of working, out the kinks, if you will, and
Right.
figuring out the best way. And I mean, so the model I have does not have the air dryer. I mean, that is the next level up. They have ones with the air dryer with the deodorizer. They have ones with fucking Bluetooth speaker and remote controls and shit. I'm sure you could get one with like an assistant to like help you through the process
Yeah,
and
probably. Like a
like
screen with somebody that's just like your virtual butler or whatever that comes in and
and just like complimenting you on the deuce you just dropped or
right.
something.
Right. Excellent work. You know.
Yeah. Ah, that is hilarious.
I mean that
And
it would be a European, right? I'm are
oh,
they the entrepreneurs of the bidet? Is there like a specific country?
I wanted to say Asian. I thought you were gonna give me like a Japanese accent, and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work.
That's for off of the podcast. It's
It's
2020,
okay.
man. It's
I
no
know.
one as
We're allowed.
as Dave Chappelle says, we're all like one tweet away from just never getting a job again.
Oh, dude, it's a dangerous time. And it's funny because we're allowed to do accents in America, but we're not allowed to do any Asian accents. I feel like that's the accent that
Yeah, that's
white
true.
people, we're not allowed. Like if you try doing an Indian accent or a Chinese accent, like I don't know, for some reason that's when they cancel you. I don't know. That's when I get the
Yeah,
most shit.
yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Because as I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking like, what? Because I can do accents, like I can do a decent amount of them, and I'm thinking like, what would I do right now and not feel like it would be offensive to people? And for the most part, it's just about everywhere except for Asian accents. I think would
Yeah.
be the ones where I'd kind of feel that level of like, I don't know, that's maybe
Oh
not a good
yeah,
idea.
dude.
Any European one, like even like Africa, I feel like you could do that. I don't think that would be offensive to most people.
I don't
But I
know,
don't
dude.
know. I'm not.
I don't know.
I'm probably not hip to the latest waves
I
of
am
like.
so insensitive. It's kind of offensive. Like it's like I'm so quick to offend, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't been as myself, like in the social sphere, like in the public sphere.
Right.
Any of my friends will tell you, like I'll fucking toe the line, like I'll tiptoe on that line, and I don't know. But to go back to the 40 seconds of the warmth,
Yes. Back to the bidet. That's why we're here.
it's yeah, that's why I'm doing this here. That's why I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So I mean, you don't have to go 40 seconds. You get a better sense of yourself. That's what's so interesting about it. And so this shit's taboo. Like people don't talk about their deuces really, unless they're like, dirty comedians.
Yeah. Which
but
I
like,
kind of still put myself in that category, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm
Yep.
not, but I kind of feel like I am, you know?
oh, I can sense it. Like you're open and willing to talk about it, and I mean, it's something that for some reason Americans just don't really talk about. And there's a one podcast in particular that's been very adamant about the bidet. It's Your Mom's House with Tom
Oh,
Segura
yeah.
and
Yeah. And his wife, what's her name?
Christina Pajinski.
Yeah, Christina Pajinski. Yeah, the little
Yeah.
echo at the beginning.
So they talked about it a lot. They have mentioned the bidet life. And then the other podcast I listened to is Kill Tony. Have you ever heard of Kill Tony?
Maybe
It's
heard of it. I haven't listened to it though.
So the guy who co-created the Joe Rogan Experience is Brian Redban.
Right.
And so Redban, he's the real podfather. He also started or helped start Your Mom's House and a bunch of other podcasts. Like this dude's a legit gangster in the game. And so
Rogan had didn't he and Rogan have sort of like a breakup or something like years back? And then that's kind of why he stopped being in on it or something like that?
Their dynamic was different. So Joe Rogan leveled up so hard, bro.
Oh yeah,
like
he's number one.
He started out, by far. Like that dude, I think I read is like $30 million a year from his podcast alone or something.
I believe it. Yeah.
Dude, so he's been crushing it hard. And at the beginning of his existence, it was just shooting the shit, getting drunk and stoned with the homies. But then he had, he wanted to ask real questions to real people, real experts. And so he like started to invite, the reputable people, the bigger people. And so as he was interviewing some of these, scientists, Brian Redband would be in the background and he'd ask the most ridiculous question ever. Do you wipe sitting up or sitting down, like standing up or sitting down? Like,
right.
He actually, I think he said that they had a Q&A with Jerry Seinfeld at the Comedy Store it was like a year ago. But that was like anyone could ask Jerry Seinfeld anything, and Redban famously asked Seinfeld, "Do you wipe sitting down or standing up?" But yeah, that's his brand. And
what did he say?
Sense. Oh, I don't know. I wasn't there. I think the whole issue. I don't know. I don't know what Jerry. We should ask Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, yeah, now I want to. Right. Yeah, I'll get him on the podcast.
It's Seinfeld. Should I turn a light on? I feel like it got real dark. I'm gonna turn one light on.
Ooh. I didn't know you were gonna romance me, the Kevin Greene.
I have to, baby. Get some blue in the background, little contrast. So anyway, yeah, Brian Redban, he has a podcast with Tony Hinchcliffe is his name.
Yep, I know Tony. I know I listen to Rogan a lot, so I know all those guys. Yeah.
So yeah, they have a podcast and they talk about bidets. Like they're sponsored by Tushy.
Okay.
But yeah, 40 seconds. I mean, it depends on your deuce, depends on your diet, depends on the angle that you get. You got to figure out the angle.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you don't have to go 40 seconds.
Let me throw a couple different types of genres of poops at you, and I want to see kind of what you know to be your approach thus far. So,
Okay.
take for instance the relatively hardened poop, in which let's say toilet paper situation. You're kind of like, I probably don't even have to do anything, but you're gonna give it at least a once over, and you're gonna, okay, I was
Oh,
right, I didn't have to do anything, and you throw that
oh
piece of
yeah.
TP out. Okay, so what are we looking at there? Bidet, amounts of water and styles, and what are we doing?
So that's called a ghost wipe. I mean, that's
Okay.
a very rare, healthy wipe that a lot of Americans don't ever get to experience in their
No,
lives,
no, that's for
uh,
sure.
especially with the American toilet. Like I mean, we are meant to squat. Like that's the physiological way to do it. That's why, what do you call those? Oh, what happened?
Squatty potty.
Yeah, that's why squatty potties are so famous. I'm getting a phone call. That's what's happening. I don't know if you can still see me.
I can see you. Yeah.
Uh, okay. So back to meeting. Oh, there you go. So squatty potty, it kind of relieves that, that muscle right there, so you get a better deuce. I don't do the squatty potty. I didn't like the angle. I didn't like the way that the cake sit on the bowl. Like I said, this
It's weird.
one, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, this is just a regular Toto. They call it a washlet, by the way.
Mm,
That's the Toto brand. Like that's their name for a bidet.
that is very
But
conservative. You're right.
I feel like there's a better way. We'll come up with something off air. I don't want to give it out, but there's got to be a better name for it, because
Yeah. Well, we
bidet.
have to protect our intellectual property here, obviously.
Exactly. So the bidet is actually a separate thing a lot of the times. Like in Europe, especially, like there'll be a separate bowl that is just to wash your situation. So I'm rocking a hybrid. Like it really is like a legit hybrid. And anyway, I don't fuck with the squatty potty. I don't get a bunch of ghost wipes necessarily. Depends on my diet. I fuck with a lot of kale, and that kind of helps a bit. It's good and
Right.
fibrous.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you get a little tester, a little dab. I like I
Okay.
said, I don't have the air drying, and so like I'll have to use TP, and it'll be a little tester sesh. But
Just a
I
little.
little test, little 2-ply, little fold over, check it, and at this point, I'm like 98% fucking white. Like I'm 98% just perfect. Like, but
There is 2% though.
there are, yeah, there is a 2% fucking respray. Like
Mm,
there are some times where I'll have to readjust and then reevaluate my life a little bit and figure out a better approach to that.
right.
But mhm, I've gotten better at it, and it is based on diet. It's based on how comfortable you are, and I wonder how many people have made it this far.
I'm sure. I'm sure the amount of views will just be tremendous.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's like as soon as we start about the deuces, like, and then you got more graphic, like,
well,
yeah.
actually, I haven't started doing these live yet. I've just been uploading them like the next day or something like that. So I haven't yet taken that step to
Mhm.
doing them live. I would like to do that, but I'm still sort of. This whole thing has happened so quickly.
Mhm.
It was one of these things where it's like I've wanted to do a podcast for like a long time, as I am a white 30-something-year-old male, and all of us want to apparently do podcasts.
It's what we're born to do, baby.
Yeah. Um, and so it kind of like was one of those things where like, the quarantine started going on, and I was like, man, I have nothing to shoot. I have nothing to do. I'm not making any money. Um,
Mhm.
and so it was just, I think Emmerich and I did one night, like I had been kind of like flirting with the idea, and he was like, let's just get drunk and like record it. And I was like, okay. And then I just called it like the Quarantine Chronicles, and like that was it. And then what
Nice.
happened was, it was so weird, is that I started like reaching out to people that frankly I have no business interviewing, none. yourself included, to be honest. I mean, you obviously turned out to be like a real just cool, humble guy. But if we're to look at social media following as any sense of like whether or not someone wants anything to do with you, then maybe you'd make the assessment of, okay, this guy doesn't want anything to do with you. And it gets crazier than that too. Like I've got like Shane Bloom told me he would do it. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Nice,
like
dude.
actual like legit working, like does everything right. Um, type of guy. I've got him and like Colby Brown. I don't know if you know Colby Brown. He was gonna do it, and I talked to Peter
Yeah.
Hurley today, who's like he
Wow.
might be like the best headshot photographer in the world. Maybe like I don't know.
That's
People
sick,
where I'm
dude.
like, it's like I've gotten to this point where I'm almost like prepared for people to say yes. Like it's like almost not a
Nice.
good thing.
Yes.
Um, but anyway, the point is like I didn't like have time to like prepare um, good audio video stuff or really anything for this. It was just kind of like, hey, want to do this thing, and then people started saying yes, and I assume it was just because the majority of the people I'm talking to probably don't have much to do because they're all sort of a creative economy people, and they just sort of look at it and they go, yeah, you messaged me nicely, you threw me a compliment, like you clearly this means something to you, like all right. And people are just so
Nice, dude.
accessible right now, man. It's very, very like this whole thing has almost been kind of a blessing for me in a bizarre way.
Yeah. No, it's weird to think of this as an opportunity.
Right.
I've always had this weird experience or relationship with opportunity, because a lot of times opportunity means something bad is happening and you swoop in there to make something good, and there's this weird balance of not minimizing the bad and to somehow make something good from the bad. And I'm a fucking supporter of using this as a using this period to connect with people and to tell some stories. And that's why I was down. It's like, I'm not doing anything. Like I'm posted. Like, I don't know if you can see in my camera, like I set up a bunch of pillows on my
Yep.
reclining sofa right there, and I have a beautiful 4K TV right there. And I mean, I would probably just be there doing something, and here I am doing something with you, like sharing some stories, explaining the real life of someone with a bidet in quarantine, like
Yeah. Let's
giving you
call
that
you.
real
Let's
wisdom.
let's refer to you as an ex toilet paper user for
Mm.
future reference.
I still got a dab to dry. I don't have the air dryer on it, but
I think you still qualify.
yeah, I'm the bidet life. I'm a I don't know. I'm living the bidet life. I'm bidet a. I'll teach you the bidet BCs.
All right, that'll
Bidet
play.
BCs. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's possible.
I'll think
Um,
of something good and I'll message it to you, and then we could use that.
yeah, yeah. I like how you think business all the time too.
Yeah, off the side.
If maybe you could somehow incorporate time lapsing into bidets, that might be the ultimate pairing. I'm not really sure how that's possible, but there's got to be
uh,
some way.
bidet lapsing. That's but it'd be the holy grail, bidet tonight.
Oh, I like it. Bidet tonight. That's not bad.
Bidet tonight, and then it's also the holy grail because it's like the hole in your butt. I don't
Ah,
know.
right. It's too bad that holy is already spelled with an H and not a W. Otherwise, you could, you know.
It's 2020, bro. You can spell whatever, however you want, man. There's no. You don't have to give it a W or an H.
So to bring it back to serious talk, then, so
Sure.
the ghost wipe is basically just like one little kind of feeler squirt. Um, let's make it a little bit more complicated now. So let's say I don't want to go straight, like um, completely loose, but let's say it's a more viscous liquid type of bowel movement, and
Yes.
maybe it's one of those ones that my brother-in-law calls the magic marker, where no matter how many times you wipe, there's still a magic marker in there, and you keep kind of getting just the
Oh
edge
yeah,
of it.
that's
Okay, so those
parts.
everyone knows those are the most complex to remove. So how does the bidet handle something like that?
That was I know that from Andy from Parks and Rec. That I don't know if you ever saw that deleted scene where he talks about there like being a marker in there, and it's like no matter how. Again, it's about the stream, the intensity of the stream, and the angle. And there's different ways to maneuver over the spray to kind of find that sweet spot. It's like you're just like you feel it. I kind of had a crash course in a way by having a shower head that was removable. So that's kind of like the training was. That's like the intro to bidet life.
This is
If
something that
you,
you've done?
yes. So this is
Okay.
so it was an easier transition for me, because I had a handle, like I had the shower head that was removable, and if I was having that spicy deuce that needed that extra work, I could adjust, the spray, like I could get whatever spray I want, and there's a way to spray. Like water is the best way to get rid of it. Like it's like trying to clean a carpet with a paper towel. Like it doesn't make any sense. You want to fucking power wash that shit if you could fucking pull that moisture out at the same time.
Right.
And so it's really a power washing game, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's so much better just because whatever is hitting you, it's going back down. And it's super clean. Like the one that I have has a self-cleaning feature on it. And it's not that gnarly, dude. Like people freak out. They're like, "Oh, fucking, that's weird. It's gross. It's dirty." It's the cleanest shit I've ever experienced in my life, pun intended. And so it's just it's a life changer. It's a game changer. And so I had that shower head, was able to figure out, what it would feel like, and there's ways to adjust and relax. And sometimes, I mean, yeah, the ghost or the magic marker one is fucked up. And what that is, that's some emotional shit. Like I don't know if you realize it, but that's you know, shutting it down mid fucking party. Like you're like, calling the cops on yourself and you're shutting that shit down. And that's an emotional thing. Like you really have to totally change the way that you do it, and then you have to let that come out all the way. And and I feel like we're all living in that right now. We just have to release that. This is so fucking ridiculous.
So you're saying the magic marker shit is it's turtling up due to stress? Is that your theory?
Yes. Oh no, it's not a theory. That's a fact.
Okay. I
No, I'm
believe
kidding.
you. I have no argument for this, by the
I
way.
know.
I have
I'm
none.
making it up. I'm making it up as I go along, but it makes so much sense right now, and
So
that it is true.
is the stream for the magic marker, is the goal here to sort of blast it so much that it just sort of disintegrates and falls into the water, or is the idea that you're going to spray it and sort of push it back to like come back maybe in a few hours when you're less stressed out or something?
Oh my god. Um, no, no, you got to power wash that bitch. Like honestly, the best maneuver, and this is where we're gonna lose the last 5 people that are still
Yeah,
watching.
go for it. It's Monday. Yeah, who
I
cares?
don't give a shit. Kind of do, but it's really about relaxing. Like like I said, it's like you're calling the cops on yourself, right? Like you're shutting the party down.
Hmm.
You have to open that party back up. You have to let the neighbors hear it for a little bit, just a little bit longer, and let the cleanup crew, let the cleanup crew in there and fucking do their work. And so it's about finding that right angle. It's about finding that comfortable sweet spot in your life and in your heart, and just breathing. You just gotta let it in, and then it'll power wash from the inside. um but I mean, yeah, I don't know the
Right.
anatomy, dog. Like I took anatomy, but I don't know exactly how the sphincter works and how far up it is and where colon and lower, like where it all connects, and those magic markers. Like I don't know exactly where that fucker is, but I
Well, you
do
don't
know that
have
they're
to. You don't have to know. I don't have any expectations for anything like that. I just wanted to know what was your personal strategy for when you encounter
uh,
such a turd. Like, what are you
mm.
kind of what is your plan going into that?
So what did I say? 92% success rate, right? I think it was
You know,
92.
98 is what it was.
Oh, well,
Now
one,
it's
two,
92. I don't know, dude. You're selling
I'm
selling short all of a sudden.
well, I'm counting the deuces, doggy. Like how long have I had it and how many deuces and how many, like maybe, yeah, I'd say somewhere between 92 and 98 success.
Okay.
Between 8 and 2%. I'll check and be like, all right, I'll have to hit it with a different spray or a different angle. But
Right.
I mean, it's been clean white wipes at least 92% of the time, like at least.
Right.
And there is a surprise, magic marker in there sometimes that'll skew the results a little bit,
Right.
but it's something that you can manage. Because before bidet life, there's nothing to manage it. Like
Yeah.
you'd wipe and you'd run out of TP, and then it's like, what do you do? Just change religions and break up with your girlfriend and move
Yeah.
to Sri Lanka. Like I don't know. What's
Yeah.
the plan?
I was gonna say use leaves, but yeah, probably those other things too. By the way, dude, your like first foray into bidet use using the shower head is got to be almost identical to like the average woman's like first, like flicking the bean, session is like, oh well, I used like the shower head. Isn't that like every girl always says like they're always like,
Yeah.
well, I used the shower head and like that was I realized like that day that I could, have this magical thing. So it's like you're actually very similar in that respect.
I'm basically an adolescent chick learning how to flick the bean. I guess is that what you're saying? I don't know.
Yeah. Who's really good at time lapses? Yes.
Yeah, I
That's
got the lapsing and the. This took a weird turn. But yeah,
dude, you
the
you kicked the
shower head's a
fucking
good move.
you kicked the fucking door down. I just followed you in.
I don't, I don't care. It's all silly. It, it's all
Well,
I. This is what I would have wanted to watch. Like before I dipped into the bidet night session. Like I would have liked to watch this interview, this conversation.
I'm gonna have to contact Gunther from LR Time Lapse and just see if maybe he wants to incorporate some of this lingo into like his next, LR Time Lapse 5.5 or whatever the next one is. I think it probably is 5.5. I bet.
Oh yeah,
I think
that
he's on like
dude's in it.
5.4 right now.
Yeah, I want that. I'm down for that sponsorship. I want that little LR time lapse little module that he gave Americ and some of the other. I'll reach out. I don't know
Dude,
if he'll be down after this, but it's okay. I'm down.
dude, what a like invention though for everyone that like I mean because I don't know if I've ever met anyone that doesn't, not necessarily like a professional, but like, somebody where like okay, like clearly you know what you're doing, your time lapses don't flicker. It's like you pass that base test of like
Mm,
you're actually okay at this. I
yeah.
don't know if I've ever met anyone that has another methodology other than using LR time lapse. So I mean, I hope the guy makes like some legit money from doing that because he should. I mean, he
Oh
changed the
yeah.
whole game for everybody.
Oh, for sure, dude. Oh, he's a legend in the game. Um, I don't know. What's crazy, a lot of people don't. So I told you about Timescapes by Tom Lowe.
Yes.
So I don't think LR time lapse existed when they made this. I don't know if it was even around back then. But to even go further back, Chronos and Baraka and like the original time lapse masterpieces, those were shot in film. So I don't know what the fuck they did
Yeah.
to.
How the hell do you like? How do you balance exposures? Like, you know?
You want to know something crazy? Disneyland has a fucking BTS time lapse. 1955, building Disneyland. They did that shit on film, son.
What is the time lapse of?
them building the park, bro.
Oh, like a long term, like multiple
Yeah,
months kind of thing.
yeah, months long, like all on film. My dad has my dad's a huge Disney fan, and they had these like collector sets. There's these DVDs in these like metal boxes. I would say that something the vault, something vault. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, they had that BTS of Disneyland, and I feel like some of it got leaked to YouTube at some point. But time lapse has been around forever, and they figured out ways to minimize aperture flicker and
Right.
other types of flicker. But yeah, going day to night, that holy grail, like LR time lapse is the biggest tool. I'm sure there's After Effects. I'm sure After Effects has some sort of plugin or some way to set the beginning and end keyframes. I don't know, dude. I love LR time lapse though. I've been rocking it forever.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I remember when I found it, and like to your point about like prior to that, it was like, I mean, I guess the two guys that you mentioned, like, I mean, that I suppose they must have just had to edit frame by frame. But even, but the thing is, like, as insane as that would be to actually go, I mean, suppose it's like a minute and a half or something, you know, like suppose you have, um, what, like 900 photos or something, assuming
Hmm.
you're playing it back at 30. um, I mean, that's ridiculous in and of itself to go through 900 photos and get the exposure exactly right. But the
Yeah.
other thing is that even if you did match it as good as you could, I still feel like there would be a lot of flicker because like the whole thing that LR time lapse does is like it's like even if it's exactly the same, it's still not exactly the same, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
So I really have no idea how you maybe they weren't totally deflickered back then. I don't know.
So I have done Holy Grails before I had LR time lapse, and I would kind of find something that would work for the most part. At the beginning of the sequence to the end of the sequence, like I'd edit it so it'd be a little bit dark at the end and a little bit dark at the beginning, a little bit brighter at the end. Like I'd find something and just in Lightroom, just edit, just straight across. And there are deflicker plugins.
Right.
So I I manually adjusted back then. Before I would shoot aperture priority, I would manually ramp the shutter speed. My boy Crispy Zero, Chris Pritchard, he still will manually do that shit. Like
That's I do
that,
it.
that really you don't
Yeah.
dude,
No,
aperture priority is so much easier.
it probably is, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes I want to have that extra little bit of control over like, do I want to ramp like ISO right now? Like maybe I don't. Maybe I can get away with shutter. Like I don't know. Sometimes I want to make that
Yeah, yeah.
decision myself.
No, that's smart, dude. I wish I cared enough to do that. But I just set it in
I mean, you're
aperture
better than me,
priority.
so
No, no. But yeah, I set it at aperture priority now, and I just play with the exposure compensation. But back in the day, what I was saying is I would set I would have something somewhat baseline, and then there are plugins. I think Digital Anarchy, is that the one that I use? Yeah, Digital Anarchy Deflicker. I think that's the one
okay.
that I use.
That's an
There's
AE.
also yeah, it's no, I use their Premiere, Premiere
Okay.
Pro. They have a plugin for Premiere Pro. It is Digital Anarchy is one of the best deflickering plugins in the game. So even after I'll run the LR time lapse, I'll still dip into that Digital Anarchy uh, if I really need to smooth it out even more.
Right.
But
Right.
that one's super good, and I also have another one for denoising called Neat.
Oh, I've got that
Neat.
one too.
Oh, it's such a game changer
It
for
really is.
noise.
I've cleaned up some video with that. Not even just time
Mm,
lapse, but actual like I shot a wedding a couple of years ago, and I just had like basically no lighting during the reception, and I had to shoot at like 800 ISO or something, and it just looked like garbage at the end. And I used that, and it was like surprisingly pretty easy, and it worked out pretty well.
nice. Yeah, I love that plugin. Those are the only two plugins that I own though.
Yeah, I don't really own a whole lot either. I think Neat might even be the only thing that I've ever actually bought. Well, actually, that's not true. Photoshop, I have a bunch of shit
Mm,
for
I
like
see.
masking and stuff. Um, dude, what was the story with the T-Rex like moon thing? I love that video.
Oh, that actually is one of the videos that I hit with the denoise. That was neat, denoise.
Oh, really?
But yeah, no, that was originally just set up as a still photo. So here, I'll actually change my camera angle a little bit
Okay.
so
Oh,
you can
nice.
see. So that's the original right there. Uh, that's my friend Brian Alvarez, and he, bought one of these. He bought one of those T-Rex outfits. Oh, if that works, you see it a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, I can actually see it already. Yeah.
Okay, so he bought that T-Rex outfit a long time ago, and I mean, he was like one of the first to have it. I mean,
Uh,
it has since blown up a bit,
right.
but that was one of my first front page Reddits. I think that might have been the first time I made front page Reddit. We took like it's a legit hike. Like it's actually really difficult to get to that spot. But yeah, it was just me and him. He brought the suit. He brought a dog. He's a professional dog walker. Doggy Be Good is his company, and so we brought the dog, the fit, and we went up to the top right there. I guess I'll. And so he was, he dressed up, was holding the leash, and it was right after the Perseid meteor shower
Yep.
about fuck, what was that? 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Okay.
And so right after the meteor shower, we did the hike, and then a meteor fucking came in, and it's like somewhere around here, but it just lit up the sky, and it was totally random. It
Wow.
was easily the most ridiculous moment of my life in a way. Like if you were to like really analyze it,
Yeah.
what are the odds that this super random hike and this super random angle that nobody in LA has? Like
Yeah.
that's one of the other things is nobody ever shoots from that angle. But the fact like I lit him up with my fucking phone on the ground, and I just took some random shots. Like it wasn't even like a burst mode or a time lapse, just random handheld 50 millimeter 1.4, I think,
Uh-huh.
aperture, like ISO 8,000, 10,000, just random shots. And then I got a message from a friend in San Diego, like, "Yo, did you see that bolide? Did you see that shit explode?" I know you asked about the moon, but I'm gonna bring it
No,
back
no,
because this
go.
is what.
Keep
Okay,
going, man. Keep going.
so someone in San Diego was like, "Did you see that bolide, like that giant meteor?" And I didn't. I was like, "I don't think so." And so I'm checking my shots on the camera, and I'm like, "Holy shit, I fucking got it." And so I posted that to Reddit. It was either that night or the next day, but that blew up like a lot. Like that got spread everywhere around the internet. And me and him, like we've been very good friends for a very long time, but that costume meant something. Like that costume meant more because we got to experience that moment together where he's walking the dog on this crazy hike over down over Los Angeles, and the fucking meteor that we get front page Reddit. So yeah, we have since taken that outfit other places. We'll never recreate that one moment, but we definitely dipped into other moments, and we created. So that one with the moon, it was another moment that I wanted to create. Like I was able to strategize the lineup, and so I had him walk up on one hike on one hill, and I walked up on a different hike, and then I mean he did that shit in flip-flops, by the way. That's what made that so great. Like it's a legit hike that he did in flip-flops. He gets to his point, I'm at my point, and we're just on the phone, speakerphone session. He has it like tucked in, and we're talking, and I got some still shots. Like the idea was to have him kind of roar. And so the
Mhm.
original video that I posted, I mean that shit happened almost 2 years ago now, but the original video was just him roaring, and I never posted the video of him like dancing. Like that was that B-roll almost, that
Yeah, just like
that
a funny
end
funny
clip.
story. Yeah.
And so related to the bidet story. It's like I've been taking Instagram too seriously for too long, dude. And so I figured why not share some of the more ridiculous shit that I do, like the funnier shit that I do.
Well, dude,
And
that I
so that
mean,
was like a funny moment.
first of all, it's an awesome story, man. I love that story. Um, but second of all, like, yeah, I mean, I don't. It's funny, like maybe your threshold for like ridiculous may be different from other people's threshold for ridiculous, and I would imagine that might be because when you get to a point where you kind of feel like, oh wow, I have like a lot to lose, at least in terms of maybe like an Instagram following, like you may beat yourself up a little bit more because like
Hmm.
from my perspective, I look at that and I go, you know, if I know somebody that's gotten front page of Reddit for some photos that aren't just, you know, like something stupid, but they're actually like a great photo.
Hmm.
Um, like I want to hear the funny like behind the scenes thing. Like
Yeah.
to me that's like that's I love that. You know, that's
Yeah.
just as good as the shot.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. And that's what I learned. I've also gotten a lot of support in the last month or so. People telling me that the BTS, like the story is just as good as the result a lot of the times, and I've experienced it. Like I always like I still try to get Blu-rays. I'll Redbox some shit so I can get deleted scenes and behind the scenes shit. Because now with all the streaming, it's like you rarely get those behind the scenes or deleted scene or outtakes. It's also straightforward. Like everyone gets to see the main piece, but a lot of times it's the larger piece, like the BTS, that makes that main piece so much better. And so
Yeah,
I'm more aware of it now.
yeah, yeah. I would totally keep doing stuff like that because him dancing around and like he because you can hear I think you hear the audio from both of you guys, right?
Yeah.
As I remember correctly. Yeah, that's super crucial. To hear him kind of like asking you like, does it look okay? And then you're like cracking up. Like that's what
Yeah.
makes that video, you
Oh
know.
yeah. It was
Um,
genuine, dude. It was real.
so was that first photo the one behind you that you mentioned like was that like your first photo where you were like, okay, damn, like I know this is good, and then the internet responded and like agreed with you. Like was that the first one that you had that really went viral?
Yes. That was the first real big moment. I could move the camera over a little, I think. I think I unplugged something. What did I unplug? Doesn't matter. All right. So the moon over here,
Uh-huh.
Dan Orst inspired that moon stack.
Right.
That was the other really, really big moment. That was it was the super moon about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And it was the largest supermoon that the world has ever seen. And I mean, it's going to be the largest for another like 50 years. I mean, there's so much hype, and
Yeah.
so there's so much hype. I actually spent a lot of time prepping for that shot. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because I know in your screen is this. I'll send you the shot so you could post it if you want.
Yeah.
But that fucking video or that sequence right there, like I did that moon stack totally inspired by Dan Orst. Again, Dan Orst is the first one to really do that. And so I gave him, or I did that Dan Orst inspired moon stack. And yeah, that shit blew up. Like that went everywhere over Reddit too. That was another front page Reddit moment. And so I'm pretty sure it was the dinosaur first and then the moon second.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were like, this one wasn't as planned out. I mean, yeah, we took a fun little walk, and then we just got super lucky with the meteor. I mean, this one took a lot more skill, a lot more, prep. Um, to get that, I had to shoot it from Whittier, and I mean that's a very long distance. I had to wake up. I think I called in sick to work that day, even,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like there. No, yeah, I couldn't even, like, I had to get up before sunrise. The week prior to that photo shoot, I went scouting and I met some dude in his backyard. It's like I saw that it was gonna line up from this dude's backyard, and I just so happened to roll up as Home Dude was posted out there, and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Like, there's gonna be a moon set, and it's gonna line up perfectly from. And he's like, get the fuck out of here! Like, I don't want to hear it. I was like, well, listen, I'll give you one of the photos. My name's Kevin. I'm a photographer. And I got to him, and he's like, you know what? Okay, I'll let you come through.
Huh. That's awesome.
And so, yeah, he gave me his phone number. The following week, he woke up with me. And I brought my girlfriend and then one other friend, and then I'm pretty sure it was just the three of us. But yeah, it's like he woke up and he hung out with us and watched the moon setting from his crib. He's trying to take pictures with his cell phone, and I mean, we had a great experience, and I got that, and that shit blew up almost as big as the dinosaur.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so like what did you say to him at first and what did he say when he was like he just thought you were some clown or something but you had to really kind of like dude I like take this really
Yeah.
seriously. It's not I'm not
Oh
bullshit.
yeah, dude. He thought I was just some Instagrammer just trying to take pictures from his backyard, and I kind of am. Like, I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
I
you're
am
pretty much
technically.
exactly right.
But I've learned to connect to people. I'm very introverted, but I'm very good at connecting. Measuring someone's energy, and matching it, and
Yeah,
and tiptoeing. Like, I'll tiptoe into that situation. Like, I tiptoed into it, and I'm like,
right.
I'm not. I don't want to come off too aggressive. Why does it say unmute your speaker, increase your volume?
I
Am I
don't know.
losing earbuds?
I
I
can
might
hear
be
you.
losing AirPods.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Where is it? Oh, well, anyway.
Seems normal from my perspective.
Okay. Sorry. Mass AirPods. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I just figured out a way to tiptoe into his life and let him know, look, I'm not trying to step into your life. I'm tiptoeing into it, and it'll be mutually beneficial.
Right.
Like, you have the best angle for it. I have really good gear for it, and I'll give you the results. Like, you won't be able to get it on your phone. I'm gonna get it the best way that I could possibly get it. And I'm just a normal dude, just trying to fucking capture art, bro. Like, capture a moment in history, and you have the place for that moment. Like, this is the place. I'll do it, and it'll benefit us both.
Huh.
And so it worked out, dude. He
So
loved it, and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
he even a year later there was a moon set. It was actually a blood moon that lined up from his place, and he remembered me from a year prior. I hit him up. It's like, yo, there's a blood moon set from your place. And that actually became one of my favorite sequences I've ever shot in my life, dude. So that's another one that, similar composition, but it actually shows the slices.
Did he find out about like the virality of that shot? Like, did you tell him like, dude, I just got like whatever 10 million or what? Like how viral did it go?
Oh, dude. It wasn't quite as viral as the first, as the dinosaur,
Uh huh.
but it was very, very high up there. I mean, that was my first big jump in Instagram followers. I probably got like 8,000 new followers from that
All from
one,
that one photo.
just that one photo. The biggest one though is SpaceX. My Falcon 9. I know Americ got his Falcon 9,
Yeah.
which was like 1 or 2 years later, but I got like the first Falcon 9 that looked like a
Oh, I didn't know
sperm.
that.
Yeah, I don't know how well that's gonna show up, but
I didn't know that.
I have.
I didn't realize that. So you guys did it. It looked like the same location. You must have shot it from
Well,
the same spot.
I did both of it. He got it's this one right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that looks almost exactly the same kind of. I guess that's just the Falcon 9. It just always looks that way, I suppose. But
Yeah, the one that I got was either 1 or 2 years prior to his. I got his also. The one that he shot, I went back to the same spot, but he shot it from a place called City Terrace, which
Hmm.
is a little bit sketchier, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it was a better angle. Like he got the better angle. He posted it like immediately. That dude fucking crushed it with timing and where he posted it. And
Yep.
so he leveled up so hard
I
from his.
know. That was like, because I knew him, well before then. And I remember, like, I think I like woke up the next morning, and I think I messaged him, or he messaged me, and it was just like, dude, like, are you like looking at this? And it was like insane. I mean, I think it ended up getting like 15 million views or something, like on YouTube. And then like he
Oh
had
shoot.
like a couple of thousand followers on Instagram, and he went to like 30 like that day or something. It
Oh
was
yeah.
so
No,
crazy.
it was the biggest jump I think I've ever seen. Mine was big too. Mine was what, either 1 or 2 years prior. And the one that got viral from mine was like I shot fucking pretty shitty video. Like the video wasn't even that great. I feel like it was out of focus just a little bit, but
Mhm.
I did what he did and I just rushed home because everyone was freaking out. The one that I shot, I mean, that was the first big one for LA where nobody knew what the fuck was going on, and
Really?
everyone, and I was one of the only photographers out there. So the one that he shot, I mean, there are a lot of other photographers that got to shoot that rocket because of the one that I shot.
Right.
And I'm
It
not
became
taking
it
credit,
became a it became a spot. Yeah.
but I put it out there. And I know that some of the people that he met up with were shooting because of me, because I called it out. I'm like, tonight, this shit is going down. The conditions are perfect. It will be similar to the one that I got. So I don't know how connected he was to that dialogue, but
Yeah,
I
it's
do
possible.
know some of the people he was shooting with, they were out shooting it because I was like, yo, this is going down. And so a lot more people got it, but he got the best angle, the best timing, and he did the best work. Like his time lapse was perfect. Like his composition was perfect. It was
Right.
perfect to share. And um, the one that that year I got it from the same angle, but it blew up at a different, like it lit up at a different spot.
Hmm.
It had a different trajectory than the one that I got originally. But going back to the one that I shot, I put it out there. A lot of people, like, I felt like Chicken Little, dude. Like it was fucking crazy because I'm like, yo, the sky is falling tonight, yo. Like that
Yeah.
shit's going down. And a lot of people didn't believe me, and some people did believe me, and there was maybe 2 or 3 people that came up, and shot with me. But
Why
I
why
just
would
had
they not why would they not believe you? Like, why would you make that
because
up?
no one, we've never seen it. Like I know what a rocket looks like if it happens after sunset and then it gets lit up. Once it goes above the Earth shadow. Like I've seen videos of it, and I know the physics, and I'm like, well, these are the physics.
Hmm.
But the thing that inspired that, I mean, I got into rocket launches because of a trip I took up to, it's like San Luis Obispo,
Hmm.
near their near Vandenberg Air Force Base. I was shooting Milky Way, and as I was shooting Milky Way, we got a surprise rocket launch. And I never really paid
Wow.
attention to rocket launches at all. Like I never really thought about seeing a rocket launch from LA, but we were just posted shooting. I was shooting time lapse of the Milky Way, and it just so happened like another super random moment where you know, Jesus was like, "Hey, how about a little bit of this?" And then just
Yeah.
blew one off, shot one off for me real quick,
Yeah.
and we were freaking out. Like I had no idea there's gonna be a rocket launch that night, and I'm shooting time lapse, and it was, it fucked me up. Like it was legit scary, and I mean, I then, I got that shot. I could bring it. I'll bring it real quick. Hold on. But yeah, that Milky Way sesh was the big moment.
So did you have to recompose to get this, like, once you saw it, or you were just already shooting it? Oh yeah,
I'll
I've
get
been
your
do
reflection.
I've definitely seen that before, and I don't think I've seen it on your Instagram. I think I've just seen that shot.
Oh, this shit blew up too. This one
Yeah,
got shared and reshared, and I mean
looks
this
like
one spread a lot.
put it on metal. It
Um,
looks like.
but yeah, it's on metal. This
Yeah,
was shot on. But yeah, this is part of a time lapse. Like that's a single frame from a lapse. I was shooting milk, and it just
that's
came
nuts,
through,
man.
went across,
Do
and
you
so
do you think
from that,
had you known that it was going to happen? Like, let's suppose you weren't there to shoot Milky Way. Do you think that you would have shot it differently? Like, do you think your exposure settings would have been a little bit different?
yeah, dude. Um, yeah, I wouldn't have exposed for milk. Like I would have assumed that it was gonna blow up my frame, and I
Right,
don't even know if I would have thought of having the Milky Way with the rocket going in front of it. Because the rocket, it launched from over here, so I probably would have been focusing it on the actual launch site. Like
right.
I wouldn't have thought to have it over there, with ISO 64 hundo, 15-second exposure, at fucking aperture f2.8. Like I was exposing for milk, and
Right.
I just got super lucky that some of those frames, balanced the milk and the rocket at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's
So
unbelievable.
so that rocket launch is what got me to shoot that rocket launch, because after I saw this, I was like, dude, I could get a rocket launch from LA. Like it's doable. We could see a rocket launch from LA. And I did some recon missions. Like we actually shot some rockets, but they're either too late or too early, and so they didn't get lit up. But I could see them. Like I could see where the rocket was. I could see the satellite, going over LA. And so I did some recon sessions before I finally did the SpaceX, the Falcon 9 one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that. So I did a fair amount of research, a good amount of recon to get that one. But it was because of the accidental rocket launch at near Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Those are all really inspiring stories, man. And I'm not just like feeding you bullshit. Like those are all really genuinely cool stories. Um,
Thanks, dude.
do you would you say that like all of the shots that you've had where you're like these are either my best shots or um, like the ones that kind of the internet, they went viral were due to ones that you planned out like super super hard? Like do you attribute most of it to that?
So I've had an interesting career. I mean, if you want to call it that, but with photography, I about half of them are accidents, and then the other half are strategized, and they're both related, and they're both special in their own way. I have more pride in the strategized ones than I do on the accidental ones.
Yeah,
Um, but
it's
I
fair.
love them both, equally. Like the all of my moon shit. Like you can't fake a moon. I mean, you
Right.
can. Holy shit! There's so many
No.
people that fake
Yeah,
moon.
you definitely
Oh,
can.
oh, I know. A lot of people do that, but like for me at least, lining up a proper moonrise or a moon set, that's more powerful in some ways than the accidental shit. But the accidental shit, like I'm very well aware of how powerful that is, like for me and for people. I mean, because you could plan some shit out and it's cool. Like it's nice to have something planned out, but walking a dog in a fucking T-Rex outfit and then having an accidental meteor showing up to frame, like you can never plan that out. That's more special.
Yeah.
And I've just been more lucky in that I've put myself into positions, putting myself out there and shot in places at times to where I could capture some shit that, is accidental, but I still captured it because I was out there fucking chasing something.
Right. Yeah, that's true. You do even if it wasn't like a planned thing, the fact of the matter is if you are out shooting all the time, then you're going to get some of those, you know, whatever you call them, those weird moments that like
Oh, for
may
sure,
only
dude.
happen once.
Yeah.
Fishing with dynamite.
No, dude. Sometimes I feel like I'm just fishing with wire. Like there's not even a hook on there, and I'm just trolling, just casting along. And sometimes I'll still be able to pull some shit out.
Yeah. How have you been living in LA for a long time?
Yeah, dude. I was born and raised. I grew up in Culver City. So I was there for most of my life. I lived in the Valley for college. I was in Virginia for a summer, for a job, and then I've been in South Pasadena now for 6 years.
So that's probably really helped you with kind of knowing some of these spots.
Yeah, dude. I've been scouting. Like I've been shooting since like '09. Like 2009 or 2010 is when I really started to dip into the game. And yeah, I mean, I've gone exploring like so many weekends, especially when I first moved to South Pasadena. Yeah, I'm in like northeast LA,
Hmm.
and at the time there weren't that many photographers shooting from this side of downtown. And so I spent like the first several years, going on hikes and walking and meeting people. Like I did with the moon sesh. I met other people around. Like a lot of places are only accessible from a fucking backyard.
Yeah.
And so I've been lucky in the northeast side where I've made friends with some people with some sick views, and I've gotten access to places that a lot of other people don't get access to because they don't want to talk. Like people are scared to talk to people.
Right. That's so true, man. I mean, even like might not believe it based on our podcast here, but like I've had that same kind of stuff where the certain situations where I'm thinking like, do I like talk to this dude or, and many times I don't. Many times
Ugh,
I'm just like I don't want to. Just he's gonna think I'm a fucking
fuck,
psycho or
man.
whatever it is.
Dude, you have to put that aside. You have to put that aside. The worst thing that'll happen will be like, no, thank you. Like people are nice by nature. They're for the most part, most people, they'll be interested because people are attracted to creatives.
True.
Whether they pay us or not is a different thing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if they see someone doing
Not
art
that
or
attractive.
something, but they'll still appreciate it on some level. Like, all right, he's
Yeah.
trying to do something creative, and I think that's an exploit. That's a that's something that humans could do, and that's something that humans can appreciate, and they'll appreciate it, especially if you're real nice about it and just upfront about it. They'll let you do it, man. People want to support people as long as you're not taken away from them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just as long as they know that you're not trying to take away their something. I mean, then they'll be like, yeah, fucking shoot that shit, son.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you're right, man. It's just like to your point. I mean, I haven't been, um, you know, taking photos like at a serious level for as long as you have. So, maybe it just takes a little while for me to I mean, I've had plenty of failures. Don't It's not like I haven't had them. And I think that probably has a lot to do with it is like I am definitely tired of going out and getting mediocre shots. Like it sucks. It's like you want to get that shot that you're really excited about. The ones where you're like, I can't fucking wait to get home and edit this.
Yeah, it sucks though. The longer you do it, the higher your expectations get, uh, and the less likely it is to have that experience where you're just like, I can't wait to get home and edit. It's for at
Right.
this point now. I mean, I'm driven by sunsets, moon rises, moon sets, and milk. Like the elements that you can't control necessarily. You
Hmm.
just kind of let them control you. Like they'll dictate when I'm going to shoot and what angle I'm going to shoot from. Like those are my primary sources of inspiration. If there's a good sunset, I'll look at where the clouds are and I'll have an idea of where they might burn from, like what angle it would work from. And
Right.
so I'll go to a certain part of LA sometimes I would never even go to. The same thing with the moon. Like I've gone to so many parts of LA that I never would have gone to had there not been a moon that was lining up. And so I found some crazy parking garages and buildings and hills and hikes just for lining shit up. And so I let that inspire. It kind of pushed me in a direction. And but yeah, just to be like to pick up my camera and at what is it, 9 o'clock or whatever, 8 o'clock, and just go out to shoot. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like I
Yeah,
don't have that as much as I used to.
I'm pretty much in the same boat as well. Like I've gotten to the point where it's not necessarily joyful for me to, like, in fact, not just not joyful, like I wouldn't go out and shoot in the middle of the day. I just wouldn't. Now I
Yeah.
might do it if I were on like vacation and maybe a place that I was very unfamiliar with and I thought, well, I'm
Hmm.
only here for a certain amount of time, like then I'll still get excited about it. But if it's hey, should I go drive over to the city in Philly and shoot it? It's like, unless something special is also happening, I'm kind of thinking like, because at that point it's like, well, I'm going to go to one of 11 cliche spots and shoot something, and I'm going to go, who the fuck cares, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
So,
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I'm in the same situation.
but I
Mm.
mean, always trying to like get into something new, like lately my thing is like I want to start doing more deep space kind of stuff. So I bought a like a tracker,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of like the next thing. I haven't done too much. I've shot like a little bit of like 200 mil, like just kind of into the center of the Milky Way, and like that was pretty sweet. But I'm far from being like good at it. I need to do that a little bit better. But there's a lot of people in LA that do a lot of deep sky stuff. I think I follow a few
Oh
of them
yeah,
on Instagram.
yeah. Curtis Morgan, that dude's
Yep.
crushing the deep space. No, I mean, there are a lot of dark skies around us. We have relatively good weather. I mean, we have good weather during the summer. Like, it's not a whole lot of chance of overcast, especially around the new moons in the summertime. And but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of access to good spots. And I mean, I got really into astrophotography with my friend Nate Zabo. This dude
Okay.
has zero social media presence, but he's a gangster on the telescope. And I mean, I learned all about like the real tracking game. I have
Right.
a Star Adventure or whatever, the Skywatcher.
Yep.
I've used the Ioptrons, but I mean, home dude set like he has like a tracking scope with
Yep.
his scope, and then
Like
he
just a
has it on the
whole
computer.
bunch of shit attached to each other.
Yep, I
Yeah.
learned all about the filter wheels to shoot monochrome, and all the different wavelengths. He doesn't really do that too much, but I did learn about Pix and Sight and like all the
Right.
real like the programs that the real gangsters use. I learned about, so I was able to use some of that like really fucking hardcore shit to work on some of my soft core. I don't know if soft core astro shit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I love it, dude. Astrophotography is amazing.
Yeah. There's another dude actually. I'm pretty sure he's from LA. And in fact, he was one of the first guys. Like I was already kind of paying attention to it, like on the internet, and it was like, cool. I want to start doing this. But this guy was the first guy that kind of delved a little bit more into like the really like extreme kind of edits, like a lot of not necessarily like unrealistic, but not like absurd. Like you know what I mean by absurd? Like the people that are like, I got my sunset and my blue hour and my gold hour and my Milky Way and my not that,
Yeah, yeah,
but it was like he just did a lot of like really crazy stuff to like the core and like so that the black lanes were like black, you know what I mean, and like
Prevails. Is it Prevails?
read my mind, bro, read
That's
my
my boy
mind.
Sean. That's Sean Pierce right there. He's a good guy.
Dude, he was the first guy where when I saw his shit and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Mm.
Like that was the first time where I was like, damn, I didn't realize you could do shit like that. Where it's like he does a lot
Yes.
of like I know kind of now I have a little bit more of an idea what he's doing. Like he does a lot of like Orton effect, kind of shit, and
Yes.
like I don't know what he's like
Well, he
taking
does
clarity
pick.
away or something.
He uses picks insight.
Mm-hmm.
He uses picks insight, and he also, I mean, to get rid of all the stars. That's was it dust and speckle? Like you could
Dust.
remove
Well, there's dust and
dust and
scratches.
speckle.
Use that.
Yeah, you remove that shit. But yeah, it's picks insight, bro. Like he'll do these crazy stacks of 2 to 4 minute exposures. You'll stack them, and you could stack them to get rid of noise. But picks insight is so it's even beyond me. Like I haven't even really dipped into it, but picks insight is the program to
Yeah.
really pull out data out of Astro. But
I did
fuck that, man.
I did some googling, like, because I remember hearing. I think, in fact, he was the first guy that would actually say like he edited in Photoshop and PixInsight and like a couple other things. And I remember like that was the first time I heard it, and then a little bit later on I could hear a couple other people, and it seemed like all the ones that would shoot Ro Apiuki, um,
Yeah,
those were the ones that were like fucking pink and blue.
yeah,
Like they always edited in PixInsight, and that's when I
yeah.
was like, all right, what's up with this thing? And it was like one Google search and reading like one article, and I was like, all right, and like I just couldn't. I was like, I'll figure this out later. It was like so much.
It's intimidating. Have you seen the program? Have
I
you
haven't
actually
even
opened it?
I just read one like debate about something on a forum, and I was like, holy shit, this is like I don't know if I can wrap my head around this.
Nope. It's such an ugly interface. I've tried it once, I believe, and it's like you remember MS DOS?
Yeah,
It looks like that. It looks like some fucking
right.
Matrix hacking shit.
Just like a
I don't
command
get it.
prompt.
I don't get it at all. Um, but no, that is the next evolution. Like I've gone as far as I can with Photoshop, and but I know that to really level up my Astro game, it's picks in sight, bro. I
Yeah.
gotta do it.
Do
You gotta
you hang
shoot.
out with him a lot?
Prevails?
Yeah.
No, I think I actually only met him once for a moon. It was that moon that moon set that I got.
The super moon.
Yeah, the super moon. I got it setting, right? Everybody else got it rising.
Uh-huh.
So that morning it was 4 a.m. I fucking got that moon set, and I posted it, and it was already blowing up. And then we all met up at Baldwin Scenic Overlook, which is actually where I met Crispy Zero for the first time. But that's where like every LA photographer was posted, and I met him and his now baby's mama. Like I met them for the first time IRL. But I've known him for a long time, like on the gram, and like I had a takeover. Like I did a little takeover for one of my favorite photo hubs in LA called Conquer LA.
Okay.
So I did Conquer LA, and like I did a takeover, and I featured him for that. And he was one of the dudes that I looked up to like really early on, and so we kind of that's I think where we started becoming friends. But I don't think I've ever really shot with him other than the moon rise after that moon set. But he's super nice, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sean's
He
a cool
seems like
guy.
a normal guy from what he posts. I wish he would post more. He kind of stopped.
He,
I never see him post anything anymore.
he just I don't know if it's a secret, but he just had a kid. So I don't know.
I think actually he did post that, and that was like one of the first times I ever saw him post anything in like years maybe.
Yeah, no, he stopped posting, but good. I'm happy for him, dude, and his girl. Yeah, no, I'll hit him up. I'll see if we could do some Astro before his kid gets too old to question where his dad is.
Well, there's always time, man. I have a almost 2-year-old daughter,
Oh
and
shit, dude.
you can always do it. There are ways,
Yeah,
you know.
nice.
Um, yeah, man. His what's the one the like ancient bristlecone tree or whatever? He's got a couple
Yeah,
shots that he's taken there where I'm just like, God damn, that is fucking bananas. Really
yeah.
good.
He's somewhat polarizing. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there's a very, I mean, Instagram, like photographers, there are the ultra purists, and then there's something a little bit in the middle, and then there's the fuck it all, like everything goes. And I'm
Yeah.
friends with both sides, but more so that conservative, like you're gonna shoot your milk and your foreground in one session
Yeah.
or all in one shot. Like I know a lot of friends that are like, it should all happen at the same exact moment. And then other people are like, well, I'll track it, I'll stack it, and then I'll blend it. And then I don't really fuck around with the people over here that are like, fuck it, I'll take all my Milky Way and put it with whatever foreground I want.
Yeah. I can't go there either. I know what you mean. That's a
I
one spot.
hate
Like
those.
I can appreciate it when it's done really well. Another good example is do you know Derek Culver?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
That dude is all about the just complete insanity.
I know.
Um,
No, I mean I had a falling out with him.
oh really?
I've Yeah, so I've been in the game long enough to have beef. Like I've had beef with him and with some other people, but like again, I'm like more in the middle. Like I understand both sides of it. And when I say fuck that guy, I don't really mean it. I don't care. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. But there's like this weird sort of I'm better than thou. Like both sides have this weird sort of I'm better than you
Yeah,
and then I'm better than you. And
I know what you mean.
um
Yeah.
the only thing that he was doing that really bothered me was he was taking straight Hubble shit. Like he was just straight up taking Hubble fucking
Oh
photos of
really?
galaxies and
I didn't know that.
nebulas. And yeah, dude. And I was able to figure out which Hubble shot he's using. And I'm like, you can't just take a Hubble shot and pretend like it's your own fucking
Right.
astro.
Right.
I don't know, dude. That's when I like kind of, I mean, it was the only time I got triggered with that whole real versus fake shit.
Right.
Like if you're taking Hubble, like you could, if you got data, I mean, there are a lot of people don't realize you could get data from scopes around the world.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give you data. You could get some fucking
Yeah.
tasty data from Chile. They'll fucking give you that
Mhm.
shit, or you could buy that shit and you could make some shit. But it's so difficult to stack, the hydrogen
Right.
alpha, the sodium, and the RGB, like to fucking stack some shit and make it look like it's a lot of work. And it's fucking taken, it was like 100 hours of photos that he just took from the internet
And
and
composited
processed it.
and bam, got 10,000 followers from that or whatever. Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of lame. I agree. In fact, to be honest, like I'm kind of not even really into the I'm taking it even if it's data. Like I'm kind of like, eh. I award the most points to the person who shoots and edits. I mean, that's just kind of, and I mean
Yeah.
to be honest, like I remember those first few moments of learning about photography where like you come to that conclusion that like every photo that you see where you're like wow, and I'm not even just talking about Milky Way, just anything, a sunset, a cityscape,
Yeah.
whatever, and that realization that like every photo that really makes you go wow is a composite. Like there are no
Uh,
single exposure photos that exist anymore of a landscape variety that where you're just like, oh my god, that's incredible. It just doesn't happen anymore. And that like was a realization for
it's
me where I was
rare.
like, that's kind of depressing, you know?
It's rare, but it happens.
Okay,
It happens
fair
sometimes.
enough.
It's
Yeah,
it happens.
yeah,
You
yeah,
just gotta you gotta work for it, son.
yeah. No, that's fair. That's a good, fair point. But for the most part,
Oh, I
it
agree.
is, it's like
I
everyone's
agreed.
time blending and everyone's, taking 5 shots and here's my foreground shot and and then I'm going to focus stack and all that.
Oh, I know. But we learn, get better. I believe in you. I believe in the game. We got any parting words? What's our time? What are we feeling? It's
Oh, it's been a
8:30.
while. It's almost bedtime for me. Um,
I bet, dude. What are you
like
11:37
11:30.
right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Word.
know. In fact, it's good you mentioned that because I have a feeling that, my wife was probably going to open that door pretty soon and be like, "I'm going to sleep. What do we?" Because I'm actually in our bedroom right now. So I'm preventing her from sleeping at the moment.
Oh, yeah. I'm an asshole. Just kidding.
Hey, you believe in me, she believes in me too. So she lets me do my little podcast.
That's fucking rad, dude. You have any parting questions? Anything? Do you have a way to sign this bitch off? How are we doing?
Not
With
really.
how we end?
Usually I just hang up on people rudely. I never speak to them again.
All right. Well, fuck you too. And then, no, just kidding.
No, man, I just wanted to say thank you sincerely for doing this. I really appreciate it. And I know that what you're going to say is, oh, dude, I wasn't doing anything anyway. Regardless, like, thank you for doing it. I mean it. It means a lot to me. I've liked your work for a while now. I talked to Joe about you like recently because I know you were visiting him up in New York.
No,
You know,
I
30,
love Joe.
30-year time lapse.
I fucking
Um,
love Joe. It's my favorite.
But if you're ever out on the East Coast again, definitely hit me up. I'd love to meet up and try to shoot some stuff. And if I'm ever on the West Coast, who knows? Maybe we can meet up and
Yeah,
maybe
dude.
I'll wear a fucking dinosaur costume or something.
For sure, dude. I'm fucking down, man. I appreciate this. This was fun. I'm glad I got to finally meet you and share my stories, bidet and otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny.
Like,
We really went into this with like a 30-minute, tangent about shit, and then we ended on this like inspirational, like, yeah, man, you only live once, outro thing.
I love it, dude. That's life, man. That's good. Well,
All right,
it's
bro.
been good, man. I appreciate you. That was a good sesh. Thank you so much, man. Nice meeting you. Take care.
Take it easy, man.